talk about picking up your cross and what that looks like. And that's a very serious message. You can't look at that. No, I think I can still do the things in the world and have fun here, but then be close to God because, I'll go to church, I'll pray, I'll read my Bible. You're just giving yourself this soft message.
Don't just go through like the motions. Go through like rituals, the routines. Don't just go through these things. Like literally just be intentional in the moment and think about like the grace, the love, and like what you're really there for.
The perspective of God on what he needs to do for mankind, which was, take on the sin of the world. You see Satan tempting him saying, how are you going to do this? Do you see the weight of the sin that these people have committed?
Georgie, when you have to make an important decision, how do you seek and know God's will?
Oh,
you go first.
That's deep. It's recording now.
So is this one.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bros Think Big. It's just us once again. Hopefully we'll have a guest on for you guys next week.
We need to get some guests.
We're planning on having a guest. We won't reveal who the person is, but we'll just leave it at that. I won't even tell you any more details. Okay, today let's talk about picking up your cross and what that looks like. Now, I don't want to just go into the conversation on what picking up your cross looks like because as a typical Christian, you understand it. For those who don't, we will go into a little bit, but most of it, I just want to share these two different sides of picking up your cross, where obviously in today's world, a lot of the messages are soft. A lot of the messages are too tolerant. And to be honest, I don't even think that people know the true definition of what tolerance really is. They think tolerance is you accepting another person's point of view as much as you're accepting your point of view and saying they're both right, but that's not tolerance. Tolerance is respecting somebody for having a different viewpoint on saying, we can agree to disagree, but let's exchange ideas and say why we disagree with each other. That's true tolerance, is your understanding where that person is coming from and vice versa. But it's nowhere close to what people make it out to be nowadays, where I'm right, so are you, even though we contradict each other. That's called being brain dead, like Cliff would say. So let's go to Jesus predicting his death in Matthew chapter 16, verse 21, right? So I'm just going to read in context, but 24 is where the message of picking up your cross comes in. From that time on, Jesus began to explain to his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things at the hands of the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, and that he must be killed and on the third day be raised to life. Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. "Never, Lord," he said, "this shall never happen to you." Jesus turned and said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me. You do not have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns." So Peter is concerned that, Jesus is about to be crucified and die for the sins of the world. But Peter couldn't comprehend why Jesus was doing it and what was about to happen to him. So Jesus says, "Get behind me, Satan," as a metaphorical statement that, he cannot stop Jesus from doing the will of God, which is him having the concern for mankind to not perish, but have everlasting life. And that's why he took on the punishment of the crucifixion. And then 24, then Jesus said to his disciples, "Whoever wants to be my disciple," in other words, follower, "must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it." And the key word there, guys, is whoever loses their life for me will find it. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world, yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? For the Son of Man is going to come in his Father's glory with his angels, and then he will reward each person according to what they have done. And then I'll just finish it. Why not? "Truly, I tell you, some who are standing here will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom." So I think the last one, just to clarify it, it's talking about him, being raised up, right? Like him displaying
Resurrected.
himself to resurrected. Yeah, right, exactly. Resurrected. That's what he's talking about. So now this, what's it called? Verse 24, 24 and 26 is very interesting because let's talk about the very simple idea with tied to the tolerance and non-tolerance, right? A lot of people will take this and say, being a follower of Christ and picking up your cross and all that stuff is just your daily life on battling the world, not being part of the world, resisting the temptations and all that stuff. Yes, I definitely do agree with that. But then you see that Jesus is picking up the cross not because he's it's his day-to-day battle against sin or the world, right? Or the misunderstanding of people, because that's what he experienced either way. Him picking up the cross was a very voluntary thing that he did. He chose to do that. He almost went out of his way to do it. People couldn't understand why he was doing it. People didn't want him to do it. He did it anyway. So that's him going out of his way to do something such as suffering for a greater purpose and for a plan of God, right? So now when I look at this, I look at it the same way we can do it in our lives, right? What is a voluntary suffering that we can take on that is for the greater cause of our spiritual our spiritual strength, as well as our physical, and for the well-being of other people, right? And one of the things that I want to mention, which is the conversation that we had with our friend yesterday, was about like the fasting thing, right? So for example, a very simple concept of fasting, right, as Christians is us rejecting something in our lives, such as pleasure from food or anything else that has to do with fasting. For example, not really getting on your phone the very first thing in the morning, making sure that you pray and you prioritize other things other than what your mind and your fallen nature desires, right? Now, that's why Jesus says is whoever wants to be my disciple, so whoever wants to be my follower must deny themselves. So they must deny who they are and what they want for something greater. And that is by picking up the cross, which is a hard thing to bear because, obviously we know at that time, picking up the cross and carrying your own cross before you were being crucified was a very difficult thing. And if you want to dive deep into, the study on what the crucifixion looks like, feel free to do so. You will find a lot of things on what that might look like for Jesus. And whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. So this losing your life thing is, in some sense, we've all lost our lives on the degeneracy and living in the world. We've lost a lot of friends. We've lost a lot of connections to some activities because of who we are today. We've pretty much lost some of our life. Like we're not the people who we used to be. We're not desired by the things that we used to desire, right? Women, money, fame, attention, fun, pleasure. These are not the things that we identify with, so we have lost that. Now, notice when we lived in our past lives, these pleasure, these fun, these degenerate stuff felt good in a sense, right? You can have fun with it, that's for sure. You're definitely gratifying yourself in a fleshly manner, 100%. Now what you're doing is you're left empty after the pleasure. So it's a pleasure and then guilt. Pleasure, guilt, pleasure, guilt. So you're never satisfied. You're always thirsty for something more. And what you're doing is you're living in this cycle until you lead yourself to destruction, this deceivement from Satan that tells you, oh, look at this nice thing that you can do. Look at this, look at that, look at that. It looks all pretty. You partake in it. Now you're not only dragged into this ugly thing that just looks pretty from the outside, but you almost don't know how to get out of it. Then you become hopeless. You're guilty. You're being drawn away from God. Before you know it, you think you're too far to get close, and all these things that are dangerous. And you have to lose that lifestyle. You have to be willing to sacrifice that pleasure in order to gain something that is spiritual in a difficult situation. So in our lives, for example, I'll speak on even mine. Like I miss out a lot on the, I guess, what people would call fun in a worldly manner. But I am aware that I'm never going to experience some things. I'm never going to really experience what it's like to, let's say, for example, smoke weed and, be high and, laughing your butt off and all that stuff and going to, let's say, college parties and hooking up and all this stuff. But I don't care to miss those stuff because at the end of the day, what is,
That
like
going
he
to
says,
bring you, right?
exactly, what is the pleasure that it brings you to what's it called, lose your soul? What are you going to gain? So what he's pointing us to is you will lose something, but then you will gain it. And what you will gain here, you will lose in eternal life. So he's making this contrast with the world versus the heavenly
And
things.
like, what do you want to choose?
Exactly. So I just wanted to point that out. And that's a very serious message. You can't look at that and say, I think I can still do the things in the world and have fun here, but then be close to God because, I'll go to church, I'll pray, I'll read my Bible, do this and that. But I think you're not doing yourself any favor because you're just giving yourself this soft message, what your fallen nature wants to hear, to, I guess, keep yourself safe for the judgment. But I mean, look, God knows how he's going to judge everybody. I don't know. I certainly don't know how he will, but I would rather be in a lifestyle where I lose a lot of things and I will never experience it. I will never know what it's like, even if it's the best time of your life. But I'm willing to sacrifice that for the stakes that is for the kingdom of God, because I will have everything that I need there, because God knows what I need the most. He knows what's the best for me. So if he tells me that I will inherit everything that I need in the kingdom of heaven and everything there will be good and everything there will be perfect, that is all I need. And what the world and some people call perfect here and fun won't ever be fun in a perspective of heaven. So I'm willing to give that up.
Yeah, I think one thing that I really like that Pastor Joe talks about, he talks about this like a lot. I think I hear him say like every single time on Sundays. He talks about don't just go through like the motions. Like don't just show up to church. Don't just actually just like go through like the rituals, the routines. Don't just go through these things. Like literally just be intentional in the moment and think about like the grace, the love, and like what you're really there for. Because I think it's like really key in like picking up your cross, because it's almost like it's trying to picture how I can kind of tie those two. It's like you're
truly understanding why you're giving up.
You're only carrying a certain amount of weight. You're not trying to bear anymore. You're trying to like hold on to much more. Like you're like dragging it versus like actually carrying it on your back and like walking more. That's like kind of like the analogy I'm thinking about.
Okay.
What
does that look like in terms of what can you carry that will be more, or what can be carrying less?
Like being more intentional about like, okay, why am I doing this? What am I here for? And really thinking about like the responsibility that you hold instead of just like going through the motions and the rituals and the routines of like your daily life.
Yeah. No. You know how he said you don't want to carry anything more than what you can bear?
Like you're only maintaining like a certain amount of like weight, we'll call it, like a certain amount of like stress in your life. You're not willing to take on much more than that.
Okay.
It's not that you can't bear any more than that. It's the fact that you just don't want to. Like you don't want to take on more responsibility that you're being called to in a way.
Such as like the response or this weight can be, for example, your guilt or your...
Well, it could be like what does the cross represent? It represents sacrifice, represents responsibility,
suffering.
Represents a calling, suffering, like it represents like a bunch of things, like what it means to really bury the cross, or not bury the cross, bear.
Yeah, bear
the cross.
The cross, yeah.
What I really look at it and it really symbolizes for me is like responsibility. Like that's what it really means. Like Jesus had like a responsibility. He had a burden he had to carry, like, and that was the cross.
Yeah.
And all of us, I feel like, carries our own crosses through our own responsibilities, and we duck that by just running away from responsibility. I feel like the world is made up in a way where it's meant to be convenient in a way. You know what I'm saying? To like kind of hinder like your responsibility, like make you be like, oh yeah, you don't have as many responsibilities as you think you do.
Yeah.
Guess where I'm going?
Yeah. So what you want to add something to it before I ask?
For me, like when I hear picking up the cross is I feel obviously like within the Christian faith, and like the whole belief is like, I mean, it's pretty clear that picking up the cross is just a sacrificial thing, because you're making a lot of things, other things like a secondary thing, and you don't even pay attention to. One thing, like when I hear picking up a cross, I hear it as like a following the commands and doing things that you are to follow. That for me, that's picking up the cross, because you need to pick up that weight, because you understand that, for example, forgiving somebody's hard. You understand that going to church and waking up early is hard. You know that reading the Bible is hard. You know that preaching the gospel to people that will like disrespect you is hard. That's a real sacrifice right there.
Yeah.
You're willing to do the things that you are called to do, right? Like if you're not willing to love God and do things for Him, you're thinking of like Jesus died on the cross and Jesus is Son of God and Jesus is God. That's not going to save you, because that is not what's bringing you. That's not what's bringing your heart to Him, right? Your heart is in getting closer to Him. You're just like talking, but you're not doing anything to get you to Him. So that's why I like to always like not differentiate those two. I would never like say you don't need faith or you don't need works. I always put them together, because you can't just have one, like talk, but not do it. So you need to speak, and then you need to do it too.
Yeah.
That way your faith gets stronger there. Because if you're just talking and not doing it, your faith doesn't get strong. Your faith stays at where it is.
Yeah.
The first message that you heard about God, that's where it stays, and it's like almost freezes. Like you already know this. Now there's another step that you need to take. How closer do you want your spirituality to get to God? How perfect do you want to be? How righteous do you want to be? You know what I mean? And that doesn't come without you doing things that God commands you to do. And every single one of them is like should be like stressed out. Almost.
Yeah, remember a lot of the times we would talk about the self-improvement stuff. We would mention this so many times, is there's only to some extent you can watch videos, you can do your research, you can hear other people talk about their success, how they've done things, how they've developed good habits, all that type of stuff, until you start applying it in your life. It's just all like this dopamine that you're getting by listening to these people or hearing their stories, reading, whatever it might be. And when you don't apply that in your life, one, you never experienced what that's like. You can only imagine what it's like. And then when you start applying to those things, that's when you see the real change happen in character. Otherwise, nothing's changing. You're this in one spot of just feeding yourself the information, but this information doesn't stay there. It just goes in and leaves out.
And it's an easy belief too. Like, like just saying, oh, you just need to do this. Like you need to be motivated. You need to do this. You need to like wake up early and not pick up your phone. This is all good. This is just feeding your brain the things that are just like empty words. Unless when it's put in action, then it's a fulfillment of those words that you preached.
Yeah.
And you believed almost.
Exactly.
So like that could be one way. That's one way that I imagine picking up the cross.
Right. How would you guys say you bear that cross that you do not want to pick up, right? Because like Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he was literally praying and sweating blood because of the distress that he had and knowing the responsibility. And even he tells Peter that you do not know what I need. You are looking at it from a human perspective. I'm paraphrasing him. You're looking at it from a human perspective on what I need to do, but you don't understand the perspective of God on what he needs to do for mankind, which was, take on the sin of the world. That was difficult. So you see him going through that in the Garden of Gethsemane, is him not wanting to do it, but him knowing he needs to do it. And then the decision he makes is obviously, and gets that strength to defeat the evil by doing it. Because you see Satan tempting him, saying, how are you going to do this? Do you see the weight of the world? Do you see the weight of the sin that these people have committed? He says, you can't do it. He's trying to tempt him to not take up on that cross, because the devil knows that when Jesus will,
he knows that's the very thing that separates us from
there you
God.
go. Yeah, that's a better way of putting it. He knows that. So the bridge that Jesus needs to build is the exact bridge that the Satan doesn't want him
To be
building.
built, yeah.
Right. So he does it anyway because of the greater cause. So how would you guys apply that in your life? Like, what are the things that you don't want to do, but you do because Jesus commands you to do it, and you know that it's for the greater cause of this kingdom?
For me, it's like, so obviously, like we see with that story, something I would, well, like just one word that I would add to that is just the greater love that he has for us, that he's willing to do that, like
For sure.
do the work.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the same way. When I understand that, for example, that I need to forgive someone, I need to love one, I need to love someone, I need to be
Patient.
be patient. I need to not get angry with someone, but try to be patient. This is all me trying to live up to the love that he showed us.
Yeah.
Right. This is me trying to look up to him and copy what he did. And another thing is to like take out my heart almost and show him that I have love for him, that I'm willing to do anything that he commands me to do until I die. I'm willing to walk on his path, do the commands, do the works for me to become this righteous person that he intends me to be every single day.
Yeah.
Right? Because the thing with like you can never reach the full potential of righteousness. That doesn't mean that you got to stop at some point and like say, but I'll never be righteous, but I'll never be worthy. Well, you're not. You're never going to be worthy. So should you just never do anything, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's that mindset that you need to throw it out and say, I need to reach that righteousness as best as I can. And guess what? The more you do these things, the more you start to see yourself not lying anymore, the more you see yourself loving others more, the more you start to see that characteristic change because you're willing to put in the work to change yourself. So that's one way I would explain it.
Yeah, Mike. Before you go, I just wanted to like say, kind of add on to what you said, because that was good what you said at the end, because I hear a lot of Christians, when they talk about picking up your cross and when they talk about the life of Jesus, sometimes, which I don't really agree with, is they like to put what Jesus did and what the Christian message is on this idea that because Jesus did it, I don't need to do it. And I see where they're coming from, because there's nothing that we can do what he did. There's nothing that we can do to get us to heaven and get us to that salvation.
Pay him back even.
Right, or pay him back. Never. We can never do that. So because we have established that point, now why don't we go past that point, since we already know that that's like almost sealed. Like that's already a Christian message shown to us through Christ. He came in as a man, lived a perfect life, nothing we can do. Died on the cross to forgive our sins, nothing we can do. Died and then rose again, nothing we can do. So what is it that we can do that will imitate his character or his lifestyle?
Get
what
close
is it?
to
right.
what he,
close to what he did. It's like having a goal in your life, for example, or some kind of career, some kind of success, and saying, maybe I will never get to that point of that peak, but I will try my best to get as close to it as possible. It's like shooting for the moon, but if you miss it, you will float among the stars. That's the type of thing. So you got to have a very high standard, and that high standard is Jesus. So when you say that Jesus did it, I don't need to do it anymore, is what you're doing is you're kind of denigrating his standard to where he calls us to be. Like he in fact calls us to, be righteous, and be righteous and try to go to his standard. He knows we can't do it. We know we can't do it, but that doesn't mean that we can't get to our maximal capacity on what it's like to be, like Jesus. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think when it comes to being righteous, it's like we all fall short of the glory of God. Like, it's not like he did pay the price for us, and it's not like we don't. How I look at it is like I don't do good works for the sake of my salvation. I do good works for the kingdom of heaven, right?
Of course, yeah.
For the kingdom and for other believers.
For sure.
That's like why we should really produce works in a way, because you're, as I believe your
That's
works can get
why
you in
we
heaven.
do it.
Exactly.
That is why we are able to do good things. Our good works are not good.
Yeah.
The reason why it's good is because Jesus died for us for our sins. That's why it's good.
Yeah, that's why.
Otherwise, it's not good.
That's like the message I get when reading like Romans. It talks about it's like, it's you're justified by your faith apart from works, and then but then it talks about faith without works is dead, which is true, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But your works are for the kingdom of heaven and for other believers, right?
Yeah.
It props up other. Once one person's righteous, like another one will follow. Like him,
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like it will trickle over in everyone's life.
Right.
What was your original question though? I kind of
like, what is it like for you picking up your cross, and what is it like for you that you don't want to do, but you know you need to do it because God commands you to do it?
Yeah, I think
because that's the right thing
I think
to
it's
do.
about like showing up for other people in a way, like especially when we became like personal trainers and stuff like that. It's like sometimes like you don't want to show up that early in the morning for the other person, but
Dude, there's days where I wake up and I'm like, yeah, I don't even want to go.
Yeah, right.
but I know I need to go.
Exactly. It's like but you still do it and stuff like that. That's like one thing where it's like, it's going out of your way for for other people outside of you. It's called self-actualization, and we've talked about that before. It's like you really do get fulfilled from going outside of yourself for other people, and I think it's like one of the biggest things because like we're all connected in one way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I love that you mentioned Romans, because Romans is like the bigger book of James, right? So James plainly says works without, or faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and in Romans is like a bigger book of explaining things that is
kind of like a breakdown?
Breakdown of like the combination of serving the Lord and having faith in the Lord, right?
Yeah.
And one of them is like Romans 12:11, which says, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. You know what I mean? So like this emphasizing that like you're gonna serve the Lord. You need there's like you either serve the world or you serve the Lord.
Yeah.
And you can't be on either side, because then you're sitting on the gate, and that gate belongs to the devil. Yeah. So like we need to like kind of put this image together and say what James says, and then put it in this bigger picture of like, instead of just saying that I have faith, I need to serve the Lord. And you can't serve something without putting in the action.
And you serve it because you have faith, right?
What?
You serve because you have faith.
Because obviously because you believe in God, and that's why you're serving. Of course, that's like the biggest one. That's why you're following Christ.
Because my understanding is, I remember my lifestyle as a person who was really trying to stay out of trouble, do good things, and really have a good reason on why I would do good things. But when I compare on the reasons that I hold now and why I'm doing it compared to how the reasons I had back then are very different, and practically comes down to selfishness versus selflessness.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I had goals of success, money, good lifestyle, this financial freedom thing, on, making so much money that I could just go and rest and have a good time, and these type of stuff are very selfish, because where is the serving there? Who are you serving? Yourself, right?
Yeah, that's so true.
Like, the man in the barn where he had all that possessioning. I think it talks about in Matthew. Can you actually look into that?
Yeah.
So a man pretty much has so much wealth and so much belongings that what he says is, this is what I will do. I will build a bunch of barns. I will keep my crops there, or my whatever he collected
like
from where he no. So he pretty much like planted crops and stuff, and then after he reaped what he sowed, he says, I'll have barns, I'll have all these stuff, so I have food to eat, I have my family, all that stuff, and I'll just lay back and just enjoy life, that type of stuff. What happens is he passes away, he dies, right? And then now he's on a judgment seat. So God tells him, you have now had a plan on this perfect life that you wanted to have for yourself, but where was I in it? Where was your life on serving others? Where was your life on using these resources that I gave you for others, rather than keeping them and lay back? So ready? When you work, right, and you make money, when you make that money, is if the goal is selfish reasons, so I want to make money so I can then take that money that I worked for and then invest it into me. Invest it back into me on what I can gain for myself. Good house, good car, fortune, vacation, comfortable lifestyle, whatever that might be. Now, where are you investing that money into people who need it? Serving people, working more. So when you have more, you give more. Or starting some kind of ministry where now that money that you work for goes into serving.
Like people like
Yeah.
a lot of the times people like to say like I can do both, but I'm convinced of
You're doing one more than other. That's what it is.
But
Yeah.
when I'm growing in wisdom and like just looking at like how I do things and what I choose to do,
You find it?
I come to a conclusion where you actually can't do both. That's why there's a reason why Christ told them that I'm going to make you the fishers of men.
Yeah.
That's why he had them sacrifice their family. That's why he had them sacrifice their comfort, their food. They were going, dude. We have to understand one thing: that sometimes he would send out disciples to preach the message, and he would tell them plainly, "This is Jesus that loves them." Tells them, "Do not take any food with you guys." So like, imagine how like they had to go and knock on some doors and ask them for them to sleep in their house and
Rely on God.
exactly.
Yeah.
And if they didn't, open up the doors, they had to sleep outside, right? Obviously.
Yeah, of course.
So they had to sacrifice this thing for others. That's what Christ wants us right now. Christ wants us to sacrifice our life for others, because that is when it's truly revealed how much you love Christ. Christ did that for you. What are you doing for him is the biggest question. You do not want to serve yourself here on earth.
No.
Because there's nothing for you. Like nothing almost belongs to us here.
Yeah.
This is like when you get the bigger understanding, you understand that this world is like not yours. What
Right.
yours is the kingdom of heaven and for everybody. That's
Amen.
that's the house for everybody, right? Now, when people try to live when people try to like get their house here and bound everything here,
Right.
they have lost
Right.
everything there. When people lose everything here, they have gained everything there. So
Right.
that's like the
Where
bigger
you
picture.
store your treasure is where your
That's why
heart
I
will
don't
be,
like
yeah.
to say like at least not anymore. I don't like to say like I want to have all this for me to sit back and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You're still making a sacrifice.
That's
You're
why I
either
made
serving
that
somebody or the other one. Yeah.
distinguishment is I don't know how it was in your guys' life, but for me personally, it was that I can only understand it in retrospect because
That's
even,
a good. Is it a parable or?
Yeah, he will read it in a minute. So that same example is I could only understand this in retrospect, right? At the time, I knew I was doing something good. I knew I was doing something noble and all that stuff. But then when I think back to why, like what is my motive now is Christ. After he has saved me with his Holy Spirit, now my guiding spirit, which is the Holy Spirit, is in a direction where it's not about you. What you're doing is for others. It's not about you having this for yourself. I didn't bless you for yourself necessarily. I blessed you to give it to others. I've given you so you can share. It's not for you. But then, back then, it was the mentality that if I work hard, I've deserved it. The reason why I have it is because I worked for it. The reason why this guy doesn't have it is because he never worked for it. So why should I give it to him? Yeah. Why should I share my fortune that I worked so hard for? Right? The rich man. Why did Jesus ask him to give it to the poor, sell all his possession? Because he taught him, whatever you worked hard for and gained was a blessing. Now give it away and follow me.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's so many
I
of
feel
these.
like with us Christians,
connections.
it's more demanded
Yeah.
for us to do bigger things than, for example, somebody that is new in faith or something, or somebody that is not a non-believer.
Yeah.
More is demanded for us because we know this stuff. We understand on a bigger picture that we are servants of others. So the disciples, they had a bigger picture. They had a bigger responsibility. They had a bigger job to do than like people that were like didn't know the gospel, right? We know the gospel. We know all these things. We understand that even if we had nothing in this world, we wouldn't be depressed. But we understand that somebody else probably would be depressed. So we need to like fill them up. We need to fill them up with our light so they receive the light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we have a bigger responsibility. So we, as Christians, I feel like we need to stress it out and we need to like step up. Like really, I feel like Christianity now is just like stepping down instead of actually understanding how big of a responsibility it is. So we need to like really step up.
It's almost like very passive instead of like super aggressive in like the terms of like taking action towards things. It's like
exactly.
That's why it's like when you guys said like when people think like, oh, like once you're saved, like you're good and stuff like that. It's like you knowing that you're saved, like that assurance should give you more of like a hunger towards like gathering other believers or like serving
Giving
the
it to
kingdom of
others too.
heaven.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like it's a blessing. And I can read the
Can you read the parable?
Yeah. So it's actually in Luke.
Is it Luke?
It's Luke 16:21. It says,
Okay, yeah.
and he told him a parable saying, the land of a rich man produced plentiful. And he thought to himself, what shall I do? For I have nowhere to store my crops. And he said, I will do this. I will tear down my barns and build larger ones. And there I will store all of my grain and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, be merry. But God said to him, fool, with an exclamation mark, this night your soul is required of you, and the things you have prepared, whose will they be? So is the one who lays up treasure for himself and is not towards God. And I can tell the bullet because it says like the meaning of it. So the barns represent storing up wealth, security, and success in his life while ignoring eternity. So it's like this guy, the barn, he has these barns, like he's good, he's safe, right? Not even thinking about the future because in his life that he pretty much has it all, right? Jesus calls him a fool because he prepared for comfort, but not for his soul.
Yeah.
So temporary.
His fleshly desire,
He prepared for himself temporarily, right?
Yeah.
The lesson is responsibility isn't about providing physically, it's about preparing spiritually.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because when that judgment comes, right? Like that preparation, when the judgment comes is how righteous will you be able to stand in front of God? In not in terms of, what you've done, but righteous in terms of what was your desire with what you were doing. Like if my desire on what I'm doing today is for myself, then that means when I stand in front of God, I've got to tell him and respond to him on why was I thinking about myself when I'm talking about, let's say, God and preaching his word. So like, for example, what we're doing on this podcast, right? Judgment Day comes. He knows our hearts. He tells us, why were you, Sadullah, thinking about, I will say this message so my video goes viral and I get income? Why were you thinking that? Why were you not thinking that when I'm speaking these words, somebody can hear it and they can give their life to Christ? Why not that? You see how there's in a human, right? In humans' perspective, you can say they're both good, right? Yeah. But now look at it from God's perspective, the intention, the heart. Where is your heart? Is it with God? Or is it with his people? Or is it with yourself and something that you want for yourself? And that's why you're using his words. That's why when he warns a lot of people about these false teachers, false preachers, false, followers of Christ and saying, casting out demons in his name and proclaiming the kingdom of God and all that stuff, which you really do see nowadays with YouTube. And then those will be the hypocrites, like Jesus warns about, is whoever preaches about his words and whoever just talks about his words isn't them abiding in his word. It's not them living up to that word. The Pharisees are a perfect example. The best ones always.
They knew the scripture and God way better than we know. Maybe,
right.
You know what I mean?
But didn't have that personal relationship.
What's that, by the way? Luke what?
Luke 16-21.
Which chapter?
Oh, Luke 1, 16 to 21?
Luke chapter 12, 16 to 21.
Oh, okay.
This is so I don't know, Mike. I want you to share a little bit more on this. I want to hear more of your ideas on like the picking up your cross and what do you personally see with people, for example, like the standard, right? Like
what do you think Christians lack, basically?
Right,
like
the standard with picking up your cross. Because there's definitely a standard that we do need as Christians, especially when we're, walking with the Lord longer and longer by maturing in our Christian faith and understanding that this cross is going to get heavier and heavier and heavier as the years goes on, because there's going to be, our understanding is going to grow, and when our understanding grows, our responsibilities will as well.
Yeah, I think what I see with some Christians is that like God is only like at church, or God is only like God is only in their Bible, but like not anywhere else outside of like in their life. Like it's not in their career, it's not in their relationships, it's not with their friends. It's God is only like where they want him to be, not where he needs them to be in a way. Yeah. Like
or where he actually is.
Exactly where he actually is. So what I'm trying to say is like you should be thinking about God like how you work in every single interaction that you have, like whether with your friends or family, if you're at a family event and like people don't believe in God, challenge them on it. Talk to them about it. Don't just be like, oh yeah, I believe in God. But end the conversation. But end the conversation there, right? Really just talk about it, because like it is the most important thing. And you have to stress that, right? Because it really is the most important thing, having a relationship with God. And so I think Christians lack it being in every single part of life, not just like the one area. And I feel like the people who make it a part of their everyday life, they're the people who get like, oh, you don't have to do all that. Like, oh, like you're just stop preaching. Like, just that's just what you believe. It's like they're doing a good job making it part of their everyday life, like how they eat, how they interact, like in their fitness, in their career, in their everything. Yeah. That's what I think.
Yeah. That's definitely something that I can work on, and I've been developing to understand that a little bit more, to really challenge people on their beliefs. Why do they believe what they believe, and why is it that? What do they simply think about Jesus? Like, what do you think about Jesus? That one question can spark so many different ideas and can take you in different directions on picking somebody's brain on what do they actually think about Jesus, right? Because that's what it comes down to, is not what Georgie says about Jesus, not what Mike says about Jesus, not what the pastors or the priests say about Jesus. What do I think about Jesus? How do I respond to the cross, right? Other people have responded to the cross, and we all do to some extent. Like that thing that Pastor Mike shared on Luke, right? I don't know if you watched it back, but he pretty much laid out that whole chapter from Luke 15 where Jesus is being crucified. Can you guys also double check that it's from Luke 15? And it's his crucifixion, and you see different people responding different. Like his disciples are responding differently. The Romans are responding differently. The thieves responded differently. So you see this contrast on people responding to the cross differently, and you can apply that to today's life on how do people respond to the cross. You will go to one person and talk to them about Jesus, and you will see they will humbly listen to you. They will be thirsty. They will ask questions out of curiosity. Then you will come to people who you talk to about Jesus, and they will respond in skepticism. They will challenge your viewpoints on facts, scientific stuff. All kinds of
even though they
intellectual.
Don't even care, like if it's factual.
No, right. That's what I'm saying. Some do, some don't. Yeah. It will be like the intellectual challenge. And then you will see people who will just be like, it doesn't really apply to me. I mean, look, I make all this money. Why do I need God? I live in a good life. All that stuff. So people, because of people's different lifestyles and different perspectives, they respond to the cross differently. But there's also really only one response to the cross. Is do you submit to the cross? Do you kneel down to the cross and say, I'm a sinner, forgive me, just like how the thief did? Remember me in your kingdom? Because he understood who the thief was. So whether you have all the money in the world, whether you got all the intellect in the world, whether you got, all, I guess, humility or whatnot in the world, when you stand in front of the cross and see Jesus dying on the cross, how do you respond to such grace? At least where do you start? Do you look at it and say, you know what, I need to investigate this man for being so gracious to the enemies by asking, forgiving them, right? Just that simple one. What do you think about Jesus, right? Like that's a big question. And then from there, your heart will be drawn closer to God based on your attitude on the cross. That's a huge one. Like, you guys understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Was it Luke 15?
No, it wasn't. I don't know. You're talking about like him being on the cross. It would be later in the chapter.
The crucifixion.
It'd be later in the book.
Or was it Mark? Mark 15?
There's 4 gospels, bro.
Yeah. Well, different gospels, record because some gospels are longer than others, but
Luke 23, 26 to 56.
It's actually no Mark 17. It might be Mark 15.
Yeah.
So there's one you're talking about is Luke 23, 26 to 43.
But which chapter?
Oh, it's
Luke 23.
I think it is Mark.
From 26 to 43.
Was it Mark?
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay, yeah, it was Mark. So it was Mark, not Luke. Mark chapter 15 is the crucifixion.
Oh, the one he read was Mark?
Yeah, it was from Mark. Yeah.
I mean, it's always like towards the end in all gospels. the crucifixion.
Right.
'Cause
Except
he like follows with
except some gospels have, let's say, 23 chapters longer, like 25.
No, I know, but towards the
Right,
end.
exactly. Some like, for example, Mark at 15, 16, like that's already by the end of it.
Yeah.
Matthew's just a little bit longer as well.
Oh, do you want me to like read it or no?
What? Mark 15.
Yeah.
It's a big chapter.
Yeah.
You can read some of it, but I'm pretty sure it would
being
come
weird.
up on there too. What I do is I go in the Bible app. What's it on my iPad?
The Bible.
Dude,
Yeah,
AI,
the Bible app.
AI is so good.
The Bible.
We need to drop that video. That was
Oh, we can even like
was pretty funny.
like literally drop that video and then
Bible?
make a whole episode about it. Like how it's scary, how it's dangerous to be in this.
Like you're gonna hug the robot, but the robot doesn't think.
Hey, stop
for
spoiling
itself.
it, dude. Stop spoiling that video.
Oh, bro.
Guys, we're gonna be having a video like literally dropped.
Talk about the Church of
Like,
AI.
like a what?
Nothing.
We're gonna be like, I want to. So I was telling to the video that I showed you about this guy talking about the AI.
Dr. Mike.
Yeah, so we're gonna drop that video and then kind of like talk about that. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Kind of dissect the video.
Yeah.
What was the other topic that you were bringing up?
It was about like how to navigate temptation and sin as like a man.
Yeah, and that's why I said like you could tie that into this cross thing, because that's you battling with sin. Because one of the things that you also see why Jesus tells Peter, Satan, get behind me, is like that temptation on somebody else not understanding what you're going through and telling you, nah, bro, you don't really need to.
No. How serious? Yeah, like how serious he was, like the whole accomplishment.
Right, but you see, Jesus understood the bigger picture. Peter didn't.
Peter didn't. Yeah.
Right. So in our lives too, there are situations like that where people say, "Oh, why do you need to?" Oh, you
Or
know,
like they say, why did Jesus have to die on the cross? Like,
yeah, right.
People
like the right.
They go like, why did Jesus have to
I
become
didn't ask
a
him
man?
to do that.
Why? Yeah, like
Yeah.
why did Jesus have to die on the cross? You're like, come on, dude, because they don't understand the bigger picture.
But
of it.
more like, for example, in our Christian lives, when some people would just go, "Yo," this is why I was bringing up that whole thing with like standard on people saying, Christians saying, "Oh, you know, Jesus already died for me. I can do nothing. What do I need to do?" All these type of stuff. But that's just dangerous thinking, because
They don't actually believe though.
right, exactly, because you're doing something every single day by coming to church, devoting yourself to the Lord, praying. Those are all works of you doing it out of His love. So when you say that I don't need to fast, or I don't need to, restrain myself from social media or whatever, what you're doing is, I want to pick this battle, but not this one. Maybe because this one's a little bit more difficult and not that one.
Or like this is not connected with
Exactly.
Christianity. Like people say, like going to church, reading the Bible, preaching the gospel, those are all connected with Christ. But like the other things, as far as like forgiving other people, staying away from social media, not drinking like alcohol, like partying, being into the world, those things are like my life. Like this is, or like a career, or the career that they're in, they like run their career based on like the needs that the career needs. You know what I mean? Like,
they conform to the career.
business, for example, right? They run business as like, how do I sell my product to this guy, even if he needs my persuasion on, I know that this product isn't worth this much. I'm just gonna make I'm gonna be a good salesman in a sense, right? What you're doing is like, those things are like Christian based, and those things like it's outside of it. But for me, like those things are together. Like there shouldn't be like pick and choosing for us Christians.
Yeah.
Because the world's already doing that, obviously, right? They pick and choose what's good and what's bad for them.
Yeah.
They think it's subjective, but we understand that everything is objective. There's a reality of things. Yeah. There's truth, and then there's lies.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's exactly what the point that I'm trying to get at, is this separation of things that really shouldn't be separated. Like why should you have to separate whether one thing is needed for the suffering of you and the other is not? Obviously, yes, God does call every single one of us to walk in that desert alone differently, for sure. But then when you have to separate sufferings on, I don't really need that, but I need this. I don't need this, but I need that, is you really
it can
need
be dangerous. It can be dangerous.
You really need all of it to some extent. Yeah. You won't get it like everybody, somebody else, but you better have, your own portion of every single one of them. Yeah. You better have your plate filled out with fasting, being more forgiving, being more tempered, more loving, more patient, more responsible for your family, going to church, praying more, reading the Bible more, all these types of stuff. Have your plate filled out and full on these little responsibilities, and not say, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put on my plate this prayer, and going to the church, for example, and it's just hypothetical. And these are the two big things that I need in my life. And everything else, I don't really think I do. And you're kind of depriving yourself from the blessing and the grace that God can give you through the other stuff, like fasting, right? Really practicing more patience, really practicing with your temper more, maybe being a better listener, right? Yeah. Something that I certainly struggle with. Allowing somebody else to speak too, right, Mikey?
You don't listen?
Yeah. Sometimes, right? Sometimes. Like there's situations where if I get into a conversation, I don't listen.
I think you're pretty good at listening. I'm not going to lie though. I'm like, compared to you, like I'm
maybe it's listener. Like it's not that you're a bad listener. It's like maybe you just like really misunderstand it. I don't know.
It's just bad listening, bro.
Yeah.
Wow, he's calling you out.
There's so many.
No, he's not. I'm saying I'm a bad listener. I don't even know. I don't think you are.
Well,
like compared to me, you're not even a bad listener. I feel like
it depends who you compare yourself to.
You're like pretty good listener.
There are people who will just sit there and let you talk. Mike's a great listener. Yeah. Mike's a
too good of a listener.
Right, like almost too good of a listener where he doesn't chime in.
I don't even speak.
me and Sador are talking this whole episode. You're just drinking water.
That's why I want him to talk more. I need to be quiet.
You gotta ask me things. I have some points I bring up.
Yeah.
All right, bring it up, man.
Respond to pretty much what I said with, people not filling their plate with different sufferings, these voluntary sufferings, which are definitely necessary to strengthen your spiritual life differently, because they all spiritually, strengthen you different. Like when you fast, it's a different frustration that you get. For example, when you're hungry and you need to eat, but you have to rely on God, that's a different suffering. Having to love more is you having to understand who somebody is, like their true colors, and be able to say that Jesus died for that person as much as he died for me. And I guess the worse things the person does, the more forgiveness you need to have for that person. Because it's almost like they need it more.
Yeah.
Right? And that type of stuff.
In my opinion, I think everyone's on like a different spiritual journey.
Yeah.
It's like everyone might have different sufferings than other people, like things that they need to like accomplish.
Yeah.
Like for example, let's just say like the whole idea with like someone who's like a very high tempered person, like has a big temper versus someone who's like super patient, right? The person who is super patient doesn't really need to go through that suffering because that is a problem specifically for that other person.
Yeah.
I think, especially when it comes to fasting too, everyone should fast. But I also think like there might be some people out there who are just like, oh, I just fast regularly. Then it's like, are you really suffering? Like,
is it a real fast, right?
Yeah, is it like a real? No, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, oh, like I fast like every single day, or I intermittent fast, or like sometimes I don't eat for a whole day, and stuff like that. Are they really that suffering, or is that like is that a normal part of their everyday lives? And it's like, what would you guys say to that?
I wouldn't really call that fasting though. Like, for example, if somebody's like, if somebody woke up in the morning and like is at work and they physically can't, like they actually can't eat.
Yeah.
That's like, look, it's good, but that's not fasting. What fasting is when you have the
urge,
excessity. No, not excessity.
Abundance or convenience.
So there's excess.
When you have the access to the food, but you're choosing not to eat. That's what fasting is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Voluntary.
Well, that's what a religious.
That's
like,
what I would say.
So when I think about fasting, I don't think about it just like food wise. There's like other things people should fast from.
Yeah.
Right.
Technology.
But fasting in general, like
it's mainly about food.
It's food, yeah.
Right.
But it's
what if that's like a piece?
But
what if that's like a piece of cake for someone, right? Then it's almost like they need to find some other form of fasting, like fast from whatever like is having them, whatever is like taking their spirituality away from them in a way. Whatever's like
then well, yeah, of course, but like usually, here's the thing. That like, for
I
example,
haven't found
in
a person
religion,
who food is like piece of cake. It's very hard to.
No, I mean, you don't even call it like a piece of
like,
cake.
for example, I'm not gonna lie. I think for monks, bro, it is actually a piece of cake. For them, it's a piece of cake. I mean, dude, think about it. 50 years they're there, and they literally sometimes they fast. Like me and you did a whole 7 days. They can probably do like 20 days. And guess what? Me and you, we were like working out. We were like scrolling. Do they even have phones? Do they even know how to use phones? No, right? They're praying, reading the Bible, They're building churches too. At the time they're fasting, they're doing physical like work in the sun, like drained out. Sometimes they don't have water. They have to walk down to the river, fill up the water, drink, come up the hill again, do the work again. And this is a continuation of 50 years, for example, and even longer. That's real fast. They have access to the food. Yeah. They look at the food, they take the food, and they probably like go and bring it to the village, like give it to them when they're hungry. Yeah. Like that's like real fast for me. All right. Like the thing to answer you, the religious fasting for me is like obviously like it starts with food. But like, for example, when Orthodox fast for the big holidays like Christmas and Easter, what they fast is from alcohol, from what's it called?
Sex?
Yeah, obviously.
Sex is one of them.
Sex is one of them. Phone. Like watching like any like entertainment, even if it's like comedy or something. They just
so it's all of it together, right?
all of it together. You know what I mean? So it's not just food.
Yeah.
In general, like religious fasting is that. Like and like the thing you said, that's a spiritual fasting. Like for me, eating is like a piece of cake, and I'm gonna go do the phone. Yeah. But religious, it's everything is like together. You're abstaining yourself from food, phone, alcohol, and all the other stuff, entertainment, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. That's like the religious fast.
It makes sense. It's like almost.
But
like
it's not bad. Like for you to only fast on phone, you can do that too. But I'm just like I just made a distinction between.
Yeah, I think people should go outside of like just like this. Go outside of also like this standard. Like look at because the Bible doesn't say stop scrolling or go on like a dopamine detox from the technology. It doesn't say that. So it talks about like the main thing when you think about fasting is food, right? Yeah. Go outside of that. Go fast from your phones, fast from your friends. I don't know, like go into isolation for a little bit and just pray to God, or fast from alcohol, right? Don't drink for a whole week, or like fast from like don't just fast with like food, fast with other things as well. I think people should be more open to that.
Food is just like super practical, and
it is super practical, and I think it's definitely 100% important. I think people should also go outside of that as well and think about other things. Maybe fast from like their favorite sweet treat. I don't know, or fast from don't eat desserts for a whole month. Yeah, something like that. Like I did that with Josh.
I remember. Yeah.
And the things with that is like I look back at that and I'm like, okay, I did it for a month, and it was kind of difficult, right? To abstain from desserts, but it's like nowadays like. I don't have to eat desserts for it's not a thing I'm suffering with. So it's like not a thing I'm going to focus on. You know what I'm saying? Focus on the things that are spiritually like hindering you most of the time. Yeah. And then I think that will be very beneficial. And I had the camera on Georgie the whole entire time.
This is what it says. It says, yes, the Bible speaks of abstaining from things other than food.
What does it say?
It says yes, the Bible. So I asked the question if the Bible does like talk about abstaining from other things other than the food, and it says yes, and it talks about like sexual morality, idolatry, evil desires, food and drink,
or things that just lead you into sin, right? That tempt you to fall.
General evil,
That could be entertainment, and I feel like we're surrounded by.
So I guess the Bible does talk about
convenience and sin, food. Especially the entertainment world. It's just like full of just like indoctrination.
Yeah. Anywhere you go to,
Fortnite.
Most of the viral stuff are going to be entertainment. People doing maybe pranks, or people being quote unquote funny in front of the camera, doing the degenerate stuff. Like the entertainment nowadays, for example, people like Speed and I don't know, what is that fat guy that is on Twitch playing games?
Wait, fat guy playing?
Yeah, I don't even know his name,
saying?
but. You know Balin Levine, right? He has him in his videos. It's Noah and the other guy.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Yeah, I forgot his name too. But anyway, some people will know. So when you actually see their views,
they're like calling out the big streamers.
Yeah. So
come on the podcast, big streamers.
So when you look at streamers nowadays, I see as the influence for the future generation. There's no more barely any good streamers anymore, or people with
good
that have
intention.
positive message that gets the views.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people on the internet now with positive messages, bunch of people with good and moral messages. The only thing is, people don't watch these people. People watch the ones that talk about other stuff, because where your heart is, right, is where you will be.
Yeah.
These people desire this entertainment, and that's where they go. When you desire other things, when you become a Christian, when you live the life of suffering, you desire other stuff. God gives you wisdom. It's a gift. And because with this gift comes a lot of responsibility, now you're able to choose between actually right and wrong, good and bad. People will say, there's no such thing as good or bad. It's just your preference. Yes, there is.
Whoa, that's scary.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is
It's very scary.
clarity between what, let's say, Speed is doing versus, for example, what pastors and priests and
Speed?
I show
Speed,
The streamer?
yeah,
Okay.
versus
Be
what these people do. So these people preach about the kingdom of heaven. What Speed is doing is entertainment, focus on himself, brain rot stuff,
But he makes me laugh.
and it makes people laugh. But
Good, little Jimmy.
What- what are they gaining? Nothing. They're not gaining.
Bro,
any-
it's not that deep, bro. I
Notice-
just want to watch a stream.
You know
Oh.
what? This just gave me that idea. That's why
Are you
people.
talking about the guy that was with Ronaldo when Bradley Martin smacked Ronaldo? Are you talking about that guy?
Queso?
No. That's not him.
Queso?
Bro,
No,
are
we
you,
talking
is he
about-
white?
Yeah, I think he has red hair.
Red hair?
Yeah.
No, the guy you said he's fat.
He's ginger, yeah, I think.
Oh. I don't know.
Queso. Can you look that up? I think that's you. I'm surprised you don't know that, because I think you mentioned that guy too before.
No, I think Josh and Alex used to mention the queso guy.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I remember now.
Oh yeah, their little brother watched him. Yeah.
Oh, so this guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Can I see?
Right? Isn't that his name? Queso?
Oh, dude, I don't even know that guy. You talking about him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I don't know.
he's apparently a big streamer too, with video games and stuff. So anyway, the point being is, that's why. Notice how people thirst spiritually nowadays. People seek spirituality. People want to seek some kind of guidance spiritually, not physically anymore that much, and not fleshly desires that much. People are lost spiritually. People are deceived spiritually. People are weak spiritually. And that's what leads to other
I thought you were
weaknesses.
talking about this guy.
No.
Okay.
But
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Because one time I used to watch him. He used to I used to watch like Fortnite streams and stuff. And then I one time he said something crazy. I think he blasphemed against God or something. I told him. I was like, dude, don't do that. Don't blaspheme against God. And he goes like, who's this guy? Blah, blah, blah. He started like yapping. And then I was about to type another thing and then just removed me from the chat.
He removed you?
Yeah, I was about to say like, tell him like, dude, I'm not telling you in a bad way. I'm trying to like correct you for you to turn into a righteous path. And then he like, I couldn't
Right.
send the text.
he's admin
'Cause
probably, yeah.
Yeah, because they removed me from the chat right away.
Yeah,
So
booted. Demons.
They blocked me.
That's why we're in a spiritual thirstiness, is because what happens is, when people drink from the well of unspirituality, they are deprived from the spiritual water, right? So when God, Bible, Jesus gives that water of spiritual transformation with God, and they don't have that, and they're just indulging in other stuff that is outside of it, of course they're going to thirst for this. That's why you see people now coming to Christ, coming to the knowledge of what spirituality means, coming to an understanding on, starting their journey on being more spiritual, whatever that might be. At least they're already starting to realize that that's missing.
Yeah,
That part of them is missing. And
you just don't have to ignore it. That's it.
and yeah, you see God working in our generation beautifully, and hopefully our podcast can be that big platform that God can use to reach
By his
a
will.
lot of people. Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. I mean, we're already a little over an hour in. So
Should we wrap it up?
Culture.
What?
Do the Christian
Yeah,
culture.
you do the Christian culture. Jesus.
Let's do stories. Is that a good one?
So flip it upside down, and it's easier to pick it up.
So is stories a good one? Hello?
Yeah, stories are pretty good.
Yo, talking to the mic. Don't be far.
Okay, let's discuss.
Wait, are the gates back? Is that why we can't hear Mike?
Question mark?
When you have to make Georgie, when you have to make an important decision, how do you seek and know God's will?
Oh,
You go first.
that's deep.
I'm the host now.
Wait, read it again.
When you have to make an important decision, how do you seek and know God's will?
By living up to his example and how he did what he did. I follow his steps. Whatever, like for example, there's not a single thing that he didn't experience that we don't experience here on earth.
Yeah.
He experienced all of them. He experienced betrayal. He experienced someone's like for example, somebody wants to gain trust from you. Somebody wants to disrespect you. How do you deal with that situation?
Yeah.
Or what is the will? So meaning like what is the purpose that he called you for? Or another thing is like how did he treat the people that were treating him bad? Or how did he like what was his purpose towards people in general?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that I just follow.
You mean
his
how
steps.
was his response to people
yeah.
in general? Yeah.
So like I follow his steps, I follow his commands, I read the Bible. If I have a question, or I want to know like what is the right thing or what is the right approach to these things, I go to the Bible, man.
Amen.
We just read, right?
We just read, yeah. Same here. Bible is that authority where we go back to really understand what God is trying to tell us, what He's speaking to us in a very unique way. That's why He, lays out stories, gives us characters that we can see ourselves in, and reading that prayers is a strong one. Not only does Jesus,
ask for prayers,
right?
Prayers
Not only Jesus shows us that prayer is important, but that relationship with God that we all need to have personally.
Is that yours? I felt it. I didn't even like feel it.
Oh, don't put it on the table.
No, it's Georgie's.
No, it's not.
It's yours. Oh, it's on the tripod. I'm like, it's always mine.
Oh, it is
Yeah, I was surprised because mine was on Do Not Disturb.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry, Mom. I had to cancel your FaceTime.
So
BRB.
what I was getting to is,
You were just talking about like I don't know. Oh, you said
the
you
Bible,
mentioned
the characters, the prayers,
the
the prayers, and Jesus Christ demonstrate that with His prayers, isolation, the importance of really devoting that time to prayers, because sometimes He would tell His disciples to go, that He would be like, you guys go, I'll stay here, I have to pray. He would go to the mountain, He would isolate Himself. Sometimes they wouldn't know where He was because He was somewhere praying. He always has his spot. So we need to take that example and really, really, really pray and ask God for guidance and abide in His word, abide in His character, abide in who He is. Because when we know who He is, we know who we are. Not only that, but when we know His character and what He does, we're able to lead in our life after Him and after His example. So He leads, we follow in His example. That's what I'm going to answer.
Yeah, I think the best way to know God's will is just read the Bible, right? Because, it's literally His words. It's God-breathed. Like, how else am I supposed to know what God's will is, right? Also, I think to some extent, this is like a level of like discernment, I guess.
Yeah.
But
And that's the Holy Spirit.
that is the Holy Spirit, and you should depend on the Holy Spirit. But then some people can really take that out of context and be like, yeah, the Holy Spirit told me to ask you on a date. It's like, whoa. Hold on. I feel like that can get taken out of context, but definitely if you really want to know practically what God's will is, read the Bible. That's how I know how to make an important decision.
Yeah.
Or think like put on like I think in the Bible it talks about like putting on Christ's like eyes, or like or it is some sort of prayer where it talks about Christ, give me your eyes to like let me see what you're seeing.
Yeah, I think
see life through your friends.
Yeah.
It's either a prayer or it's like somewhere in the Bible mentions something like that. I'm not gonna.
Well,
It
it
might be
says put on
somewhere-
the armor of God, and there's the prayer.
There's that.
No, there's something
No,
else
you,
like
that's
that
what
too.
you-
about that.
It's probably in Psalms or somewhere in the back.
Yeah.
I think it probably is in like Psalms or,
Or like
something like that.
Isaiah or Job
Yeah.
or something
The whole
deep.
the whole idea is like to like, for example, see things through his lens. Like
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at
yeah.
like see things how Jesus would see them.
Amen.
Good
So-
answer. I like that.
Exactly. And so
Yeah,
that's
man.
that's that.
Glory to Jesus.
Boom.
Jesus.
Glory.
Quote of the day. I'll do it. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. Martin Luther King.
King Jr.
Nah,
Or his
it
dad?
just said Martin Luther King.
King Jr.
No,
So it's his
Martin
dad.
Luther.
that's his dad. There was two, right? Martin Luther King Jr. and then
I think
Martin
it's
Luther
definitely
King.
Martin Luther King Jr. though, because he's only. I mean, his dad wasn't. His dad was a pastor. Pretty sure.
Oh, was he?
Man.
Yeah, I think he
You're
was.
talking about the one that fought against slavery and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Abolished slavery, yeah.
Whoa.
Well, he didn't really abolish it.
No,
Yeah.
no, he didn't
He
abolish
didn't abolish it,
slavery.
yeah.
No, he did not do that.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln did. Yeah, that was wild.
Abraham Lincoln
I don't
was
know,
like he
I-
freed the slaves. I mean, I think there's still slaves in this world, like somewhere in this court. No.
Well, I'm talking about within the America.
Oh yeah.
Who abolished slavery in America?
Amen.
Oh, segregate. Oh, yeah, right. Martin Luther was the
He was
he fighting
fought
against
against
segregation.
segregation.
Yeah. Slavery was.
Because that's when, dude.
Abraham
Imagine
Lincoln,
like there was a time where it's like whites had a toilet and blacks had a toilet.
Right.
Guys,
That's crazy.
ChatGPT has officially failed because ChatGPT told me that it was Martin Luther King. I searched it up on Google and it says Martin Luther King Jr. has that quote. So, I mean, I don't know. You can't really trust.
We had to
ChatGPT,
clarify
man.
though.
Yeah.
Well, ChatGPT has to know this, right, man?
But yeah,
Come on
this is
now.
definitely.
The guy wants to give him a hug. Come on now.
the
Dude, I
great
keep
quote.
spoiling it. Guys, that will be coming up soon.
Mikey, you do the shout out. You know what you should do? Go on YouTube.
Should I just pick up? That's not.
Go on
what it
YouTube and
says,
go
right?
to-
Because
Cole's
Cole's
episode.
episode got like 13 comments. So you pick, man.
Oh, here we
Cole's
go.
episode, I'll tell you which one. Because that was a.
You want to do it? Because
Well, yeah, why don't you do it?
I
if you
did.
know?
I did Christian culture.
Yep. Oh yeah, this one. I'll read the replies too. So, LOL. Orthodox Christians literally put the Bible together. And I think this guy's trying to say that what Cole said. I don't know. The one that Luther took books out of. You need to be asking: is sola scriptura or sola fide biblical? Parentheses, they're not. And why did Luther remove the Deuterocanon and not adhere to the Septuagint, which was the Bible Christ and the apostles used? This is backwards. Your stance is the non-biblical one. And then there's some replies. Somebody, Glory Liberation said, what are the books that the Luther took out? Because, yes, there's some books that they did take out from the Bible. Because, do you know Orthodox have, like, the Old Testament, they have other books in there too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the Deuterocanon.
Deutero.
I think that's after Deuteronomy, it has to be. Or the canon of Deuteronomy. Is that, I think, Deuterocanon, but don't take my word for it. And then our boy Cole responds to that. He says, Protestants removed the books of Tobit, Judith, Wisdom, Sirach, or Ecclesiastics, Baruch, and 1 and 2 Maccabees.
Is that the New Testament?
I really don't know much about these. I have to look into it. These are some interesting stuff.
But I
that
did hear Luther
find
was actually
interesting.
attacking a lot of the things that when church put the book, like he was attacking the book of James. So I wouldn't be surprised they.
Well,
'cause,
I
dude,
would say
It was taken out.
no, because I did count. Maybe it was a
But-
Martin Luther. Because, like for example,
Yeah.
there was a disagreement between Martin Luther, John Calvinist, and John Calvin, and then what's it called?
Zwingli?
Yeah, Zwingli. So they were probably they were probably attacking the book that they didn't like. They just took him out because because when I counted the books, the Orthodox book that we got from Georgia, don't take my word for it. It was like somewhere, I don't know exactly, but like 86 to 88, somewhere there. When I counted the books that like the King James Version has
Can
and stuff,
actually
or like the Calvary Chapel app, it was like 66 or something.
yeah, the King
There's
James
definitely
version,
less books. I'm not saying like
the
there's a
NIV
big,
and the English translation books that come from obviously later on,
Yeah.
they did take out the books.
Yeah.
What I notice is the Catholics and the Orthodox have a little bit more books in their Bibles. Now, what I have to look into is what are those books and why did they want to take them out?
Yeah.
Now, what I find from a common sense perspective is if early Christians all navigated their life with those books, why did he wanted to take them out?
Yeah, exactly. Or
It's
if
weird.
because dude, you gotta understand, like Protestants also believe that like the book that the church put was like fullness of Christ's word.
Right.
So why take it out?
Yeah.
So either way, it doesn't make sense why they would take it out.
Yeah, I think it's
I think
some eight more books. And are they all in the Old Testament or some of them are in the New?
like some of them from the Old Testament actually.
Well,
Most are in the Old.
Luther
I think, right?
called them the Apocrypha. He did not remove them entirely, but moved them to a separate section at the end of the Bible. He
I don't
moved
know.
them.
I have to do the research. I don't really like. I can't just.
So
search it
he
up
said,
on
he
the
said, so I guess this is what ChatGPT says. He said they were useful for reading, but not for establishing doctrine. So that's just what that says.
Yeah, that means he gave himself the authority to determine what was just for reading versus what was inspired. All right. I mean, yeah, everybody should do their personal study on these because these are some interesting topics.
And I know Catholics added some of the things.
They added to the Bible?
Catholics, I'm pretty sure, like Roman Catholics, they would like add things. Like, for example, if there was a separate writing that was not included in the Bible,
Yeah.
because the Bible was published like at 300 AD, like where it was like fullness of it, like with Revelation and everything. And then I'm pretty sure when the Great Schism happened, Catholics started to add some of the stuff in there.
the text, right? Not necessarily any
Like
books.
I think they added like a few books or something, or maybe even writings. I'm not sure exactly if it was writings or the books, but I heard that they added some books. Just the same how people like took some books out, some added some books in there.
But this guy's message doesn't really even make sense because just because there was a Protestant who wouldn't take books or wanted to take books out of the Bible, which I still don't understand the full picture of that, doesn't mean that sola scriptura and sola fide as a concept are not true. I mean, that's just my opinion, but it's okay.
Well, yeah, we had a whole episode on that, so you guys can.
Yeah,
we're not really on those two, but it's okay.
Yeah,
we didn't mention it though.
We did mention it. All right. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching our videos. Thank you for supporting us. Feel free to reach out to us on our Instagram, Bros Think Big Podcast. We post some short videos on there as well. If you have any questions, concerns, feedback, topic
ideas,
suggestions, please write that in our comment section. That being said, thank you so much. Love you all. Think big,
big,
Go big.
Peace.